Very well explained. I think Rikin has said about key concerns should be assessing and mandating sharing. You have no option. You are
हाँ,
willing to share your working papers with the regulator when caught, when summoned, right? You're willing to share everything when the department asks, income tax department asks, when SEBI asks, when stock exchanges come to you, you're willing to share all your working papers. Today, if you go, if the ICI, when the ICI asks, when your audit is found deficient in ICI's eyes, before the disciplinary committee, don't you produce all the working papers? Don't you show that you had done a good audit? I just can't believe that if you've done an audit, you as a auditor, and I'm talking, let me talk both as a journalist who's covered this sector for 20 years, as also an insider being a chartered accountant, but primarily as a journalist, that an audit is a charter. It's a charter where the chartered accountants who are qualified by passing the CA exam, and which everything comes under the CA Act 1949, have that, have the privilege, not even the right, the privilege of an audit. So, can we say that we will not share the papers with anyone? We are not a fraternity. I'm sorry, Rikin is saying we are a fraternity. We are not a fraternity. To each chartered accountant is on their own when it comes to an audit. There is no fraternity. There is no fraternity. Otherwise, the institute, this is the fundamental issue that I had raised. I was the youngest contestant for Central Council, and I got 1,000 votes in 2009. I was 28, 29, and at that point, I had flagged this in my manifesto. I said that we have to decide as an institute, are we a regulator or are we a trade union? We have to, and this dichotomy is exactly why the NFRA has come into being, because we were not able to solve this dichotomy. You can't run with the hare and hunt with the hound. This is a charter. We are auditing under a charter. It's a privilege given to us. Your working papers will be up for scrutiny. It can't, just like a listed entity has to put out quarterly financial statements, in front of the world, and then the entire world will dissect it and say that, oh, this is not bad. Can you say that, oh no, why should I'll put only the top line? You can't do that because you've raised money from the public. Then are we okay tomorrow if the auditing right is given to other professions also? We can't. I don't know why we are even fighting the fight. If we have done the audit, and if this is to be shared tomorrow with a regulator, you have to. There is no option. But we are not okay sharing it with a group auditor. Why? For what? Anand, this seems to be the weakest argument. Till you
I
brought
agree.
this out, I did not even know this was an argument. I thought the institute was mainly saying that the existing standard is good enough. You can't say that today when regulation is being tweaked every day. Look at the other regulators. Day in and day out, there are changes. Day in and day out. You look at GST, look at income tax, look at SEBI. Oh dear, I think it's so mind-boggling, the changes, mind-boggling. Can we say that this standard was 20 years ago, this standard was brought out and we are
And
fine?
sometimes the subsidiaries are so material that you cannot say, as a console auditor, you cannot say that I don't know what happened in the subsidiary. I am not auditing that. That is, where will the investors go? Because investors are relying on the sign of the console auditor. They are not relying on the sign of the subsidiary auditor. So,
Percy is saying here that
huh.
this would entail reviewing the work papers of company. For access to work papers, we'll need amendment to CAC and code of ethics. Why? Why code of ethics is a self-imposed code. It's a self-imposed code. Why do we need to have an amendment to the act to share the working papers? I need to go through the act. I love law, but I wouldn't mind unmuting Percy. You can unmute and talk, Percy.
Yeah, hi Arun, this is Percy. Thank you for unmuting me.
Yeah.
Well, what I meant is under the Code of Ethics, read with the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, we as auditors are prohibited from sharing our work papers with the principal auditors, or for that matter, any auditors, let it be branch auditors, joint auditors, etc. It is specifically given in the Code of Ethics.
No,
And
so
therefore,
Percy,
therefore,
I
it would
understand.
require an amendment by the Parliament.
No, not at all. If tomorrow the regulator NFRA, like we all know NFRA is supreme. If NFRA is asking you for to share it, and if you do it, who's going to prosecute you?
No one is going to prosecute us, but
Who's going to give you a notice when the regulator
no, I agree
itself
with
is
you.
saying,
If
"Okay,
the
see, there has to be some other reason, because the NFRA is what is governing you today. And if they are asking you to do something, no one has a qualm on when the institute is telling you in the name of KYC on that self-service portal to fill up some 20 details about your employment and this and that, but no one there has a qualm about right to privacy. How is the institute asking for so many details? In one of my friends' cases, it's asking for details about directorships and how many hours per week are you spending on directorship. Why? And that time no one has a problem with privacy concerns, that the institute should just be taking fees and that's it. But here, where audited financials, the world is relying on your audited financials, and if so many companies have gone kaput, if you have so many groups which are now going into IBC and bankruptcy, and if there is a problem, then I think sharing of work papers of any higher standard imposed by NFRA, if at all, will only lift the standard of the profession. In fact, our integrity as a community, since someone said community, as integrity as a community will be appreciated, that yes, here is a community which is willing to adhere to higher standards of integrity.
I'm with you on this, Arun. I'm with you on this.
But you're at a technicality, Percy. What you're saying is a technicality.
Yes. Only thing is there would be an amendment required, and this amendment has to go to the roots, to the Parliament. The Parliament has to amend the CA Act and the Code of Ethics, which is there as a part of Volume 2 in the Code of Ethics. There's a paragraph which says you can't give access to the code to our working
No, but the
papers.
code of ethics, the code of ethics cannot override NFRA at all.
But there's a schedule also which is under the Chartered
No. So
Accountants Act.
unless
So
it
the
is something under
Parliament,
the Act,
the Parliament has to amend that regulation.
I don't think so, because if a code of ethics is a self-service code.
Otherwise, I am with NFRA for bringing about this revised essay. I am with NFRA. I agree with everything that NFRA is inspected on this.
Are the component auditors today willing to say, while taking undertaking the audit, why don't you sign a declaration as a component auditor that I will not share working papers?
Because
Then
they
let
are
us see how many
prohibited right now.
Then let us see how many get that assignment.
No, because right now they are prohibited by the Code of Ethics to
So
share work
therefore,
papers.
as a component auditor, don't take the work. So you'll neither violate the ICAI code, nor will you violate the NFRA code. Don't take the work.
No, this revised standard can come
I'm
into
saying don't
force.
take up the work.
But at the same time, it would require an amendment in the CA Act 1949.
So till that time, I suggest that component auditor should not take up the work then. If you don't want to share the working papers, we should not take up the work. Then let the work be done by the group auditor itself. Or let the company find a solution.
The auditors, the components, or the branch or the joint auditors are right now legislatively bound by the Chartered Accountants Act with the Code of Ethics.
I don't think so. I have no doubt that we are wanting to wriggle out of all these situations by taking a hyper technical approach, which is what has landed the institute in this position today, which is what has made the institute so it has put them on the back foot. I almost wanted to use a harsher word, but I'll stop here. But this is the reason why the institute is in such a position.
It's a very good thing that NFRS is coming out with the revised essay, which would go to the approval of the
institute better comment on the technicality of this standard rather than getting into some hyper technical approach. Let them actually focus on what is the deficiency in the recommendation. Let them focus on that.
Yes, I understand. in the stakeholders, the investors' money, the stakeholders and the investors have been duped in many such companies. And I agree with NFRA on this stance. But my only thing is that I'm suggesting is it would go to the parliament for amending the CA
No,
Act.
I don't think so.
Yes, there is a
by
there are two
protecting,
schedules.
you
There are
know,
four. There are two
No,
parts and
schedule
four.
cannot override the act
no,
because
no,
No, no, no, no.
anyways,
Regin is making a valued point here, Anand.
I
Regin
think
is saying,
let's not get into operational
I'll stop over here. Yeah,
points.
I'll not. I won't
Yeah, let's not get
extend
into
this.
operational points. If principally whether we agree or not, I feel if ICA is trying to protect small firms or mid-sized firms from big fours, I think in protecting them, we are actually not letting them fight, letting them evolve, letting them become stronger. Protecting is not the right way. We should enable them to become stronger and create another big four, big six from India. You cannot do that by protecting them. You will have to do that by
but
exposing them.
Anand, but here also I have an issue. You're not protecting the smaller firms. Actually, it's lambs to the slaughter, because then you're doing a disservice to the smaller firms. So therefore, just like rotation, you know what happened? Rotation. It was a
Correct. It all
13-12
went to
vote.
big fours. Yeah.
It was a 13-12 vote in the council 20 years back.
Huh.
13-12 vote in the council on rotation in favor. And what happened after batting for rotation? Audits have all gone to the top 6 or 7 firms.
Correct.
To the top 6 firms. Now you're saying that this will also hurt the smaller firms. What will happen? Rather, this will actually perpetuate the oligopoly by not accepting it.
Correct.
This is
It will not.
exactly the argument, the self-serving argument of the council members and the institute 20 years back, that today we are seeing an oligopoly in the audit profession. And then of course the Satyam scam happened, and so on and so forth. But see what has happened due to rotation. Just look at the seismic impact that the rotation has had. And that's exactly what's going to happen here again in SA 600. We are playing a losing game. There is no way. You may win in the short term, you may get some stay from a court, you may get some, you'll score some brownie points. It's with members. That's all. That's all. This is not in the members' interest. The institute stand is absolutely not in the members' interest. And this will ultimately come back to bite.
See, now we have opened the gates that NFRA from future will start opening up with accounting standard also, auditing standard also, bypassing institute. Had institute taken a stand earlier and issued themselves a revised SA 600 based on what is best for the profession, including taking suggestions from NFRA, then at least we would have withheld our right to come up with standards.
Yep.
Today, I think that door has opened, and now there is no stopping. Now the NFRA will come up with
a couple of comments. Mr. S. Venkatraman says, well said on SA 600. We can't hunt with the hound and run with the hare. Sadasivam Subramanian says the auditor should be neutral, disclose the facts. He has the moral responsibility and the basis for his certification. So I think we have to. We can't. I'm still not able to understand what the institute stand is, and that really says a lot about. You have the Auditing Standards Board chairman of the institute who attended the meeting of the NFRA and said that I support the stand of the ICAI president who did not take a stand. Can it get more ridiculous than this? Can it get more ridiculous? That here is the ICAI president who does not take a stand, who takes an ambivalent stand, saying on the one hand that yes, that this standard is good enough. At the same time, we always need changes. Is this a stand that you take in a meeting of the NFRA? And then you have the AASB chairman who says, I support the stand of the president. I have nothing further to add. Then what was he doing in that meeting? What was the AASB chairman doing in that meeting if all he had to say that I concur with the stand of the president? Did he not have anything technical to add on the draft? Could he not have said a few words about what he thinks should the standard be? Could he not have added some gravitas? If all you have to say is that I support the stand of the president, do you as the AASB chairman holding such an important portfolio, do you have to attend that meeting? But this is what it's come down to. It's atrocious. I just hope that we don't go back 20 years and commit the same blunder that the institute did on the rotation. Let one hope. Everyone thought that rotation means the big firms' work will come to the smaller firms. And what happened? The work of the SMPs it's gone the other side. Today you have the big six, the big eight, who are willing to do audits of even startups with lesser fees. And that's the reality. We can all be delusional, but being delusional will only mean that NFRA, that the turf, there will be no turf war in the future. It will be NFRA all over us. And if we want to rectify the situation, we have to start now. Anand, on that note, thanks so much for your contribution.
Thanks, Arun. Thanks, Arun. Thanks, Anand.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Percy.
much.
Thanks, everyone,
you.
for a lively
Thanks.
discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, you all too. Bye.